Okay, I'm going to ask Sharon Maldonado to come up to the mic, one of our key organizers out there with a clipboard time and time again. Sharon.
Thank you, Harvey. Thank you for everyone who's here. It was really such a great pleasure to have Jesse and Linda here. Linda Mayo and Jesse Aragin from the City Council. They have been with us from the very beginning. I remember we went to talk to Linda about it, and she had such great enthusiasm about making sure we could keep our post office and keep our building public. Jesse's great work with the zoning overlay, and Linda being supportive of that, and the whole City Council voting for it. Such an historic regulation for us to establish. We just heard from Shirley and Susan, what terrific postal workers and leaders in the APWU. There's another great leader in the Postal Service, and that's the Inspector General, David Williams. How many of you have heard of him? Aha, he needs much more notoriety. He is the Inspector General who issued the audit report on Richard Blum, but more specific to the topic I have, which is postal banking. He is the person who wrote the white paper given to the Board of Governors. That's the people who are leading the Postal Service. They're the bosses. And the Postmaster General, saying that if postal banking, simple postal services, small loans, if they were brought back to the post offices, we had them until 1967, and they're common throughout the world. If we brought those back, $8.9 billion could go into the Postal Service. I mean, that's almost twice what that horrible pre-funding mandate is each year that in 2006 that Congress imposed. Also, and this is very, very important, it would be a tremendous, tremendous relief to all those unbanked and underbanked Americans who have to go to the payday lending institutions, those really heinous places that have interest rates that are absolutely unbelievable. Two terrific things could happen. More solvency, more money into the Postal Service, and help for unbanked Americans. In addition, there are banking deserts throughout the United States. Banks are leaving areas, particularly rural areas, and yet there is a post office everywhere. At least there should be, and there is one in Berkeley still, yay! Downtown post office. So those are three very good reasons to have postal banking. Interestingly enough, Donahoe, the postmaster who just left, when asked by a reporter, well, what do you think of this idea of postal banking? Are you guys discussing David Williams, the Inspector General's, his report that his white paper that he put out? And Donahoe said, what do you mean white paper? He handed us something with 3 pages. Well, the reporter turned to him and he said, I'm sorry, I think it's 27 pages long. And it's quite inclusive and something that you really should study. We'll have to find out what the new Postmaster General thinks, Megan Brennan, who took office recently. And one thing that's very important to know is that Congress does not have to be the body to institute postal banking. We feel pretty convinced that it can be done by the Board of Governors, and the Postmaster General, is part of that group. So we think it's very important to start a campaign on a number of levels in getting that message to them. Today, to start out, we have a little table over there, support postal banking, write a letter. We have some information, you can take it home, write your letter. The Board of Governors only receives information through the mail, which I guess makes sense. So you'll need to send your letter. As Shirley and Susan mentioned, we also have the postcards asking that postal banking be instituted and the full services come back. Another campaign is to President Obama. The best way to reach him is probably by phone or email. He may have power through executive action, something he's been doing lately in his last 2 years. He may have the power to institute this. At least he needs to make some decent appointments to the Board of Governors, which he hasn't been doing. So those are some things that are happening with postal banking. Really is important to get it instituted. Thank you for all your support, and if you have a chance, stop by the table and get a letter to write. Thanks a lot.